So the Switch 2 has been out for a couple months now, and it has been controversial to say the least. And don't get me wrong, I'm not here to absolve Nintendo of all their mistakes. They have definitely made some choices that just have me staring at my screen blankly, because there was no way you guys made that choice and went, yeah, this is gonna be loved by everybody. But at the same time, I see on the internet videos and discussions just titled, Nintendo is crumbling. This game just killed Nintendo. If you bought a Switch 2, you lost an IQ test. Should have bought a Steam Deck. And maybe I should have. I don't know. I don't own a Steam Deck, and maybe it's actually that good, but I don't. I'm saving up for one right now. Trying to, at least. I own a Switch 2. And people are acting like it's the end of gaming as we know it. But let's go back a little bit here. It's that Nintendo Direct that showed off the Switch 2, all the games that are being worked on, and the end of that Direct was hype. I mean, we had Bloodborne 2, let's go, baby. I mean Dustbloods. God, we were really this close to greatness. We were this close. Everyone was hyped after that Direct. And then two things happened that killed a lot of the hype. For a lot of people, at least. And then all of a sudden, the internet was exploding with controversy. First one was the Switch 2 Tour being $10. Like, Nintendo, why? Wii Sports came for free. Everyone loved Wii Sports. This is literally... This is just... like almost like a user's manual that I now have to pay $10 to use. Like, really? But I want to say most people didn't buy that. It wasn't even worth getting angry over, in my opinion. Like, if you bought it, like, good for you, I guess. I don't know if you guys liked it or not. It just did not seem worth focusing on. And honestly, I just hope it fades into obscurity and is like a loss in profit for Nintendo, because it wasn't worth it. But the real problem started with MK World being $80 fucking dollars. And MK World, I would say, is everything that went wrong with the Switch and just how all this controversy with Nintendo got started. And honestly, yeah, it's valid. It is 100% valid. I can't remember who said it. It may have been Topic Arlo or Beat 'em Ups, but someone had said, like, if you were releasing the world's first $80 game, you gotta come out with the big guns. And look, I love MK World. It's a fun game. It looks great to me. It plays well. It probably has my favorite version of Rainbow Road, but it's not $80. I got it with like the Switch 2 bundle, so for me it was $50. Even then, I kind of think that might have been pushing it just a little bit. The connected courses are amazing concept, but you know, the trade-off of those connected courses is the first course, 3 laps. Everything after that is 1 lap. That's a terrible choice. And that was reflected in the community. On the multiplayer, everyone was picking random because that would give you the 3-lap versions of the races. And then Nintendo changed it so the random choice favors the interconnected races. Why? You knew what we wanted, but you did not listen. Like, you have so much potential here, and you are squandering it with these weird choices. And so, MK World is in this weird spot for me, because I genuinely love playing it. I've had a great time when I played MK World with my friends, but it's got just enough of these pretty sizable problems that it kind of spoils the overall experience. Like, I want to give the game like an 8 or a 9, but I feel like a 7 to low 8 is like the most I can give That's even being generous. But that's not the end of the drama with Nintendo. You know, following that, we have the game key cards, and oh boy, I hate these things. You know, on one end, you could say it solves the problem of, like, I bought this digital game and I can sell it again. I can return it, potentially. But on the flip side of that coin, I have a digital game that is masquerading as a physical game. And from what I've seen, Nintendo is the one who, like, chose to make it that the you know, the games with the cards with the games on it are only 64 gigabytes, no variable storage. And like 64 gigabytes is off the top of my head, it may be lower, maybe higher. But if you're an indie dev, I get why you would pick the game key card, because you are paying for a 64 gigabyte storage for a game that probably doesn't even come close to a half that size, maybe even a fourth of that size. And I think that reflected with the Switch 2's release. Most of the games that were bought were the games that were in the physical card, not the game key cards. You can argue that another factor is a lot of them were ports, but I do think not a lot of people like this design choice. And people have been going on to say this is the death of physical media. I honestly don't know if it is or not. But then the big thing is you have people saying, you know, what happens when these servers shut down? And it's a valid fear. You know, if you have a sizable library that's all game key cards, like, what are you going to do when those servers shut down? And so, well, they haven't shut down the servers. You can download stuff from the Wii, the 3DS, the Wii U. And I'm like, wait, what? That doesn't sound right. But, you know, I poked around a little bit more, and it's like, you can't buy anything. That part of the store is gone, but you could still download stuff that you have already purchased. And, you know, I want to test this so badly. But I recently moved, and my old consoles are all with my parents still. So I had to see if this is true. But if it is, like, you know, why are we so angry about not owning our games? Like, don't get me wrong, valid. But technically, you still have not lost your games. You still can play them if this is true. And you can be angry that game key cards exist. I hate them too. But, you know, you have all this doom posting on the internet that, like, once the servers shut down, your games are gone. But, you know, no one's talking about these other consoles that you can download the games off of still. Why is no one talking about that? And so then that's kind of why I wanted to make this video. Why is it that Nintendo is catching the flack for this? Why is everyone so up in arms saying this is the death of gaming? And once again, Nintendo is not absolved of any of their mistakes. But, like, from technicalities, Steam does the same thing. It's like you are not owning the game. You are paying a license to own the game. And don't get me wrong, Valve is way better than Nintendo by a long shot. But it's just kind of that thing. It's technically the same thing. But Valve is great, so let's not focus on Valve. What about PlayStation and Xbox? You know, some of them have backwards compatibility, but that could change. You know, what are those games where it's like it's on the disc, but you need a patch to make that work? What happens when the servers are gone for that? Do you just get a crappy patch of a game on the disc? Heck, when I bought my Xbox One, I wanted to play a lot of Xbox 360 games, and I couldn't because it was like specific backwards compatibility. I don't remember nearly as much uproar as the Switch has about the, you know, not being able to play your games. And then, you know, at the time I'm making this video, Xbox raised the prices for Game Pass. Like, if you want to tell me the death of physical media, I think that Xbox has been doing that way more with Game Pass. Like, Game Pass has always felt like Netflix to me, where it's great when it started. It has these great features, being able to play all these games for a pretty decent price. But then, you know, what happens if everyone is using Game Pass? what happens if everyone realizes that no one wants to make a disc anymore or physical media? Just go completely subscription based. Then at that point, that's when we are really screwed, because we're beholden to whatever the subscription is to play the stuff we like. And then if you also want to get on like expensive prices, Xbox just raised the price of their console that's 5 years old to $800. And we're gonna say the Switch 2 at $450 is like, that's the problem here? But I'm getting off topic. Back to like my original plans for the video. I went home this summer and spent it with my parents. I had just finished college. I wanted to relax and help my dad with some projects around the house. And I took a plane. I didn't have the space to take my PC or my PlayStation with me. And so I took my Switch. And you could say, just buy a Steam Deck. Well, I didn't, so go away. I kid. I love you guys. Please stay. But I had Mario Kart World only at first, and I had a blast playing that. It was a fun time. It really was. But I just wanted a little bit more. So I did something I really never thought I was going to do. I bought Cyberpunk for the Switch. And I was burnt pretty bad for Cyberpunk on the PS4. And I don't know if that's entirely the PS4's fault, but I think a lot of that is CD Projekt Red. But I took a chance and I got burned so bad. And then I took another chance after hearing glowing stuff about Cyberpunk for years, and it was on the Switch 2, DLC and everything. And it's amazing. It's not the pinnacle experience. You could probably argue that at PC is the pinnacle experience, just graphic-wise. But I still had a great time playing it the whole summer. And honestly, I think that was the only thing I did throughout the summer while I was not helping my parents with stuff. I just had a blast playing Cyberpunk. It was an amazing, fun time. And I could just pick up my Switch, play it on the TV, play it on the go. It wasn't some choppy, low graphic mess. The audio did not sound like, 8-bit recordings. And, it's not as good as a PC, but it was good enough for this console I'm holding in my hand. Heck, I think I have better aim on the console than I do have on the PC. And then I went to LA to visit some friends later in the summer, and we played Mario Kart World together. And that awesome couch co-op Nintendo fun was there. You know what I'm talking about. You're playing the game, you're all having fun. It gets intense as you get close to the end of the race. People are angry because you throw that blue shell, and at the end of the night, a controller gets thrown across and hits you in the face. Pinnacle of Nintendo couch co-op, in my opinion. And then someone had to ruin it. So, a friend of a friend was there, and he was that guy who's just like, oh, I like this, but my Steam Deck is better. I think Mario Kart 8 is better than Mario Kart World. This is cool, but you don't own your games. And I'm sitting there like, great, awesome. Go play your Steam Deck in the other room then. You got to play this for free because I paid for it. Please shut up and just let us enjoy being friends and hanging out. And look, I will say it again, Nintendo is not perfect, nor are they blameless. But I feel like that this negativity that we have is just focused in all of the wrong places. Or I think a better way to describe it, it's just a blanket hate. Because like Donkey Kong Bonanza, it's a really fun game. I just got that recently and I've had a blast playing it. It's full of that Nintendo charm, and I will fully maintain the stance that you should have launched with this instead of Mario Kart World. And then Nintendo released a DLC not long after the game launched. Kind of soured it. It's not essential DLC. It's not the greatest, thing to do, but it's not the worst. And then Mario Galaxy Bundle is $70. It's not a remaster or anything like that. It's just a port. to my knowledge, is just a port for games that came out on like the Wii. And then Pokemon AZ has DLC before the game even releases. Like, why? But, you know, and so one night I'm with my friends and a different group of friends, and we're on Discord, we're all chatting, and this guy goes, "Man, I feel bad for whoever bought a Switch 2. Can't imagine having to pay for a console that's barely better than a PS4. I'm sitting there staring at him like my brother in Christ. It is a handheld portable console. And it's, I would argue it's better than the PS4 or of the same quality. Like, I am enjoying my games. And like, you know, the old Legend of Zelda games at this, you know, way better graphic fidelity and frame rate. But like, don't get me wrong, you are allowed to criticize Nintendo, and I will encourage that when they do something scummy. But I genuinely don't believe the price of the Switch 2 is the problem. I don't believe the specs are the problem. $80 Mario Kart World, that's a problem. A game key card is a problem. And Nintendo should be catching flack for these decisions. But then the community goes full circle and attacks everyone who bought the Switch 2. And for me, I have a lot of good memories from the first Switch. And I think me and a lot of other people bought the Switch 2 because of that. Is that on us later if we feel like we have buyer's remorse for what Nintendo has done? 100%, that's on us. But then you like attack and demean us. And that doesn't fix the problem. I think it only makes the problem worse. And that's just my problem with the internet as a whole. All people want to do is spread that negativity around. And it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make the people who bought it, you know, want to join those guys because they were assholes. The same people who are criticizing Nintendo just blanketly with the negativity, it's just blanketed negativity. Like, there is no nuance to it. And so I'm sitting here trying to make this video where it's like, Nintendo did a lot of things wrong. But I can see why people love the Switch 2, why they are glad they bought it. I am one of the people. Because at the end of the day, I'm having a blast on the Switch 2. I have not bought a single game keycard. If I didn't get the bundle, I probably wouldn't have gotten Mario Kart World. I might skip on Pokemon AZ just because of that $30 DLC and the Power World controversy, which is its own kind of bag of nuance, because I also don't know if that's as bad as people are making it out to be. Patents suck overall, yes. I don't think it's... Like, long story short, I think if Nintendo had something to get rid of Power World, they would have done it by now. But ignoring that, what I want people to take away from this video, and I get it, this is coming from a guy with 11 subscribers, but we don't need to take black and white sides when it comes to this. Because genuinely, I think the Switch 2 is a good console. I think Cyberpunk is an amazing game on the Switch. I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is an extremely fun game. And Mario Kart World is, I would rate overall positive despite the negatives. You are allowed to enjoy something despite its flaws. Nintendo, for all its faults, still delivers some amazing experiences. But they are a big company and will pull the greedy moves, and so will the other companies. God knows Microsoft and Sony have. Like, we all remember Concord when that came out. Like, despite all the flaws of Mario Kart World, the Switch 2, Nintendo as a whole, you could say like Bonanza and Mario Kart World are still good games. Concord lasted like a week. And so, if nothing else, I just want people to leave this video with like 2 things in mind. The first is people are allowed to have nuance when it comes to these things. For all of the bads, I think the Switch 2 has a lot of positives. And second, can we try just to be a little more respectful of people's choices? Because people just want to enjoy their hobbies, and I think a lot of people aren't focusing on every incident or mistake that Nintendo does. I think a lot of people just buy the Switch, finish their shift at work, go home, and enjoy the big monkey punching the world for a banana. And in that moment when you're playing those games, you just kind of want to forget about the state of the world and just enjoy the things you love. So if any of you guys are still around at this point, I just want to say thank you so much for watching the whole video. I haven't done something like this before. I only have 2 other videos, but it was a struggle for me to make this because, recording a video and posting you playing a game with your friends is completely different than recording a video about your opinions and posting it on the internet. And I'm the new guy on the block, so it's a little stressful to say the least. And if you guys disagree or agree with me, feel free to post it in the comments. I won't say my arguments are perfect, and I'm still kind of sitting here worried that I'm being hypocritical about what I'm saying, but I did try my best, and that's all I can ask of myself at this point. And so all I'm asking from you guys is, can we just be a little respectful towards each other at the end of the day? We can all go home happy that way and not keep spreading the internet negativity that seems to rule the world at this point. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hopefully I can get content out more consistently. I'm going to try my best. But I do hope you all have a great day, and we'll see if my opinions on the Switch change after I get the fabled Steam Deck. Alright, peace, y'all.